I'm just sauteing some asparagus and onions for my omelet this morning. So I've decided, since I don't have Parmesan cheese, I decided to make omelets the way my mom did, with a little soy sauce, a little sugar, and American cheese with my vegetables. And I'm pretty hungry this morning, so I'm making a 2-egg omelet instead of my normal 1 egg. Here's my omelet. My non-stick pan was not so non-stick as usual. It kind of fell apart when I flipped it over. So I dug out my very old recipe from cooks.com. Very basic ingredients that you need. And while I was looking through my book, my recipe book for this recipe, I found a really old printout of English muffins. I don't ever recall making those years ago, but apparently I did. Getting ready to go to Kroger and get some chicken. I have everything else. I'm not getting a full-size chicken, I don't think. I'm probably just getting chicken thighs. So I'm back from my little shopping trip. I had 3 boxes for the thrift store in my car that I need to get rid of because I need it free for my upcoming trip. So I dropped those off, and then I went to Tractor Supply and got some bird feed. And then I went to Kroger for some chicken. And I picked up a few other things. So I thought about getting some sour cream. I had bought some in one of my last shopping trips. I can't remember when I bought it, but it was Kroger brand. I think it was Kroger brand. It was either Kroger brand or the Walmart brand, and it was not good. I don't know, the texture and the flavor were off, so I tossed it out. So I bought some Daisy brand, a very small one, so I can have some baked potatoes with some chives and or green onions out of my garden. This was $1.99. A little bit more expensive than the Kroger brand, but it's not really worth it if it's off, and some of their brands, their in-store brands, aren't very good, I have to say. And then they were having a buy one get one free on Sargento. They always do. So I did pick up some Parmesan cheese. I'm going to put one in the freezer, and I'm going to leave this one out so I can have, I don't know what it is about egg and Parmesan cheese omelets. That's all. I don't even put salt and pepper in them. They're just delicious. They're, as long as you don't overcook the egg and you just, and it's, of course it's not the fancy Parmesan, but it's still delicious. I have gotten addicted to Parmesan cheese omelets in the last probably year or so. Although my garden's starting to come in, and like I had the asparagus, I will probably use some vegetables through the summertime just because they're there and I know they're good for me. But yeah, just having a plain Parmesan and egg omelet is so good. And those were buy one, get one free. So I got 2 for $3.79, and that's a pretty good deal for 5 ounces or 141 grams. The actual reason I went in is to get some chicken thighs to make these chicken and dumplings. And they were $1.99 a pound, which is really good for these days because chicken thighs, even at Walmart, the chicken was so expensive. Some of it was $3 and something a pound. It was crazy. So I think I'm going to use only 6 of these and freeze the rest because I don't want to make a giant batch of chicken and dumplings. My daughter's coming this afternoon to help me, so, well, let me go over the other thing I found. So these were not on my shopping list, but they were reduced. So I got some, so my favorite part of a chicken are the wings. I love breaded and fried chicken wings. I know it's not good for me, but I don't eat them very often, and they're so expensive. If you go to even a fast food restaurant, they're ridiculously expensive. So I thought that was a good price. They were, see even here, they were reduced to $2.27 a pound, and the original price was $3.49 a pound, which is crazy. These used to be like a cheap cut of meat. The same with the chicken thighs. Cheap and expensive, not anymore, unless you get them reduced or at a special price. So anyway, so my daughter's coming because my flow meter thing that checks for water leaks. So if you've watched my older videos, you'll know that I've had 2 floods. That's why my kitchen's new. The water heater blew up, and I had, before that, like a year, almost exactly a year before that, I had a water leak in my master bathroom behind the wall, and it destroyed my bathroom, destroyed part of the bedroom, the flooring. So anyway, when the plumbers were in fixing everything, they told me about this smart meter, and I decided, it took me a while, but then I decided to go ahead and put it in. I had the money to do it, so I went ahead and got it. And I like it because I can turn it's called Flow by Moen. I can turn my water off if there is a leak or if I go on vacation. I can turn it off and I don't have to worry about it, and I don't have to try and turn it off at the street level, which I can't do. I am not strong enough. I have the tool to do it, but I don't have the upper arm strength to turn it and turn it off. Plus it's a pain. One of the times it happened, I was out in the rain in the middle of the night trying to turn the water off by myself. It wasn't good. So anyway, my neighbor happened to be awake at that time of night, and he came and helped me turn it off. So anyway, it went offline Sunday. It went offline a couple days ago. And I've been hoping it would just reboot itself. Well, it hasn't. So I thought about calling an electrician, but it's so expensive just to have them come and look. And if it just needs to be turned off and turned on again, I don't want to spend $200 or whatever it's going to cost to have them come out. So my daughter, I kind of had to beg. My daughter agreed to come this afternoon and crawl under my house and check. So if she can't get it rebooted, make sure everything's plugged in, then I'm going to have to call an electrician, which isn't good. So I'm going to bag these up and freeze these things. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave a couple of the, what's today? I don't even know what today's date is. So I'm going to take like 6 of them out so I can make some fried chicken wings in a couple days. And I'm going to put this stuff in the Instant Pot, the thighs, to cook and get some broth going and make the chicken and dumplings. Sell-by date on the wings is tomorrow, but I think it's going to be fine. I'm going to keep some out and fry those up maybe tomorrow. So I've got 6 pieces of the chicken thighs in here. Okay. I have about 7 cups in here of water. I think the seal's good, hopefully. So I'm gonna have to guess. I think I'm gonna make like half, well, I might make a 1/4 of a, yeah, maybe a 1/4 of the recipe of dumplings. It's usually when I make when I use a full chicken, this dumpling recipe is way too much. And it makes giant noodles. It expands, so you have to really, you have to really make them a lot smaller, unless you like giant 2-foot long noodles. Dumplings. I guess it's the same thing. I don't know. Anyway, some people do like, they just mix up some biscuit mix and dump it in there in spoonfuls. I've tried that before. I don't really care for it, but you can do that this way. And of course you can cook your chicken in a pot on the stove. So one thing, I don't know if you can see this. This is the recipe. However, I also put chicken bouillon cubes in this to give it more flavor. Because even if you add chicken broth, like if you don't use the chicken broth from here, from the chicken you're boiling, the flavor is not very intense. So I always toss in some chicken bouillon cubes. I need to clean my, I still have seed packets everywhere. I need to clean this off, and so I can roll out the dumplings. Warm my coffee up, it's getting cold. I just released the steam on the Instant Pot. It's done cooking. So I think most people who make these regularly probably don't need a recipe, but I don't make them very often. So I'm gonna have to look at my recipe. Here's the chicken. So I'm going to put this on saute so that it starts boiling. And I'm going to put the chicken in the fridge to cool down. I do usually wait until it's cooled off some, but I'm kind of in a hurry. So these measurements aren't going to be exact. I will post the ingredients in the description section of the video, but I am doing a reduced amount and changing it a little bit. So I've already put 4 bouillon cubes and a cup of water in here. I think there's about 8 cups of liquid in here. I put 7 when I cooked the chicken in there, and I added another one. So I'm just guessing. I'm going to put 6 in there. And the recipe does not call for bouillon cubes, but like I said, I like putting them in there. So, I don't know if you can see this. Okay. So you're supposed to, for the dumplings, I'm going to put the flour. I'm only using 3/4 of a cup because I'm not making that much of it. Some salt. I'm not even measuring it. And ice water. So you just put enough of the water, the iced water, in here to make a stiff dough. So I'm going to do a little bit at a time. Oh, sorry. Uh-oh. You're going to roll this dough out. And it doesn't look like a lot, but the dumplings really expand once you get them cooking. So I don't know if this is, yeah, I think this is, I didn't, what do you call it? I didn't put the broth through a sieve because I really don't care if it has chicken pieces in there or chicken parts, whatever. You want to roll it out on a floured surface. Might turn the overhead light on. It's kind of dark outside. Now you can really tell my age with the overhead light on. So I usually keep it off because it's really glaring. And I like to make them really thin. I might have to make some more. Maybe. You just cut it with a knife. The water's boiling rapidly, and that's how you want it when you're putting your dumplings in. I'm going to cut them small because they're going to really expand. And when they're cooked, they'll float to the top. If you can see. Hopefully you can see this. So that first one's floating to the top already. And the flour is supposed to thicken up the broth. You can see I don't think you can see the first one. It's floating. You can see it now. I might make a few more. I'm not even going to measure it. A bit of salt. Can you see them floating? So I think I was supposed to do this before the dumplings. You're supposed to put butter in here. It says a stick of butter. So I think I'm going to use about half of this. Well, this is almost... I'm just guessing about, half a thing or 4 tablespoons. And some pepper. It does say salt, but because of the bouillon cubes, I don't think I'm going to put any salt in it. See them. So I'm going to let that cook for a little bit while I get the chicken and see if the chicken's cooled off enough for me to pull the meat off the bone. It is not. So I'm going to have to use a fork and knife. So you just put the meat that you've picked off the bone into the broth. I tasted the broth, it is so good. It probably does need to thicken a little bit more, but I can add some more flour to it. Some people just use chicken breast, but I like dark meat, so this is perfect. Usually when I make it, I do use a whole chicken though. So it's a mixture of meats. I've used rotisserie chickens from the grocery store, already made, and just boil it to get the broth. I think the broth is a little bit too thin, so I'm going to add some flour. I'm just going to pour it in some water. I don't want lumps, so I'm going to pour it through this sieve before I put it into the boiling water. This is what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that. It's it's semi-thick. I think it's gonna thicken up when it sits. It's really hot. Okay. So the dumplings are completely cooked. You know they're cooked when they float to the top. Okay. Trying to get one that doesn't have a stringy piece of chicken hanging down. It's not working. Dumpling and some chicken. That's so good. So I'm gonna go eat this and wait for my daughter. She's supposed to be coming anytime now. If you make these, just be warned, it does make a mess. It's a very messy dish to make. That may be why I don't make it very often. So my daughter went under my house and the light of my smart meter thing was not on. And when I went on my phone app to see what the instructions were to fix it, or to possibly fix it, I remembered that my GFCI, is that what it's called? You know, the little breaker thing in the plugs in your kitchen and bathroom that are supposed to trip when it gets overheated or too much, or something is dropped in water. I remembered when I was trying to dry my hair the other day, like 2 or 3 days ago, I remembered that somehow it had been tripped because I couldn't dry my hair in my bathroom. So the plug in my bathroom, the master bathroom, and the garage are all connected. So if that trips the electric off in that plug, I have to go into the garage and press the button on that plug. And I didn't do it because I just had a shower and I didn't want to go into my grungy garage, and so I thought I'll do it later. Well, guess what else is attached to that GFCI? I didn't know that until she was under the house. She had driven all the way here to crawl under my house because if it was an easy fix, I didn't want to have to pay an electrician. So, So while I was starting to read the next set of directions, it dawned on me that it might all be connected. And I don't know why I didn't think about it before. I feel really dumb. Just my brain just not functioning the way it used to. She didn't get mad. She got half of my, I was gonna give her, I told her she could have half of my chicken and dumplings before she came, so she brought some containers. But I felt horrible that she drove all the way here for nothing. She crawled under the house in the crawl space, and there was really no need for it. All I had to do was come and press a button and it would have been fine. I didn't know that at the time, and I'm glad I didn't pay an electrician. You would think, I don't know why it took so long for me to remember that being tripped, the GFCI being tripped, and that I needed to press the button in the garage. So now I know that the smart meter is also connected to that, although I don't trust my mind anymore, so I'll probably forget again. But it's on, it's working again. We both ate a tiny bowl of the chicken and dumplings before she went under the house. That was a few hours ago. So I've decided to make some manwich because I have bread I need to eat. Yeah, it's I need to start eating it. I think I've only had one slice out of here. So I'm gonna cook the manwich up, and I'm just gonna have a manwich sandwich, and I will probably warm up those fries in the air fryer from the other day when I had my cheeseburger, my takeout cheeseburger and fries. The fries are still in the fridge. I haven't eaten them. I'm gonna start cooking the ground beef, and while this is cooking slowly on the stove, I'm gonna work on editing this video, and I'm gonna try and go to bed early because I'm going on this trip and I need to be able to sleep and get up early in the morning. And that hasn't happened. I did get up around 10:30 today, so it's a little better than it has been. I think I got up at noon yesterday, which is really not good at all. So I'm gonna cook this. I'm doing laundry. I need to wash all my shoes. They're really grungy from the working in the garden. I've been using my old good shoes in the garden too. I need to stop doing that. I did wear my new tennis shoes that I bought a couple weeks ago. I finally wore them around the house today because I wanted to wash those other shoes. Y'all take care. Thank you all for watching. Bye.